So what is the topic for today? What is the topic for today? What is the topic for today? Inheritance and polymorphism. Okay. So let me start the session with this question. Okay. First of all, what do you mean by inheritance? Put that in the chat box. What do you mean by inheritance? What do you mean by inheritance? So hope you know about classes, objects and all that. Okay. So if you're good with that, then we can proceed with today's session. Okay. So what do you mean by inheritance? Quickly put that in the chat box. What do you mean by inheritance? Guys, I cannot see any answers anywhere. What happened? Okay, so it must satisfy is a relationship acquiring the properties. Okay, the class which have some properties as a parent class is a relationship. Okay, so inheriting properties of the parent class. Okay, so inheritance is a concept where the child class will inherit the property from the parent class, isn't it? Yes or no? Am I right? uh, Inheritance is a concept where the child class will derive from its parent class and the child class will inherit certain properties from the parent class, and also apart from the properties that have been inherited by the from the parent class, from the parent class, it also adds its own properties to itself. Is it? Yes or no? Am I right? Correct. So shall we start working on it with a few examples? Right. Okay, so let us go through one by one. The program one. So can you tell me how many classes are there? How many classes are there? Keep answering my question. I'll take you to that point. Okay. So how many classes are there? There are three classes, right? So what are they? What are they? Separated with a comma. What are they? What are those classes? Can you name them? So as you can see, we have a teacher class over here. Then we have, guys, I want you to do it very quickly here. Then we have C teacher over here, and then we have CPP teacher, isn't it? Can you see that? We have CPP teacher, right? So there are three classes: teacher, C teacher, and CPP teacher, correct? Now, what is the strange thing that we can see over here? C teacher, and in the brackets, I've written something called as teacher. Did you see that? So what is the syntax? What does this mean? When you write this within brackets, what does this mean? Can anyone tell me? Okay, it means that when I say this, it means that, okay, listen to me carefully. It means that the C teacher is inheriting from the parent teacher. Clear? Is that clear? When I say class C teacher within the bracket, if I say teacher, it means that, okay, it means that, okay, so it is indicating to the compiler that the C teacher is inheriting from the base class or the super class teacher. So you can call this parent class as the parent class or the base class or the super class, or like this. These are the three very famously used names. Okay, so I would be interchangeably using these names. Clear? Okay, so is this clear, my dear friends? So C teacher is inheriting from the base class teacher. Clear with that, everyone? And again, CPP teacher is also inheriting from the class teacher. Is that clear? Please tell me, is that clear or not? Hello guys, is that clear or not? I want you to quickly respond to me, else I'll not know. Okay, so right, okay, I'm waiting so that I don't want to go fast. Right, so how do I picturize this? How do I put this into picture? So listen to me, I can put this into picture like this. So this is your teacher class, this is your teacher class. Okay, and teacher class is inherited by two classes, right? So what are those two classes? Tell me, what are those two classes? Those two classes are C teacher. Those two classes are C teacher, and the other one is what is the other one? They're called as your CPP teacher, correct? It is called as your CPP teacher. Okay, so how do put the relationship with an upward arrow mark? Correct? No, with an upward arrow mark. Correct? Is that clear? Okay, so we have a super class called as teacher, and we have two child class or derived classes called as C teacher and CPP teacher. Now, so how many methods does the teacher class have? How many methods does teacher class have? Two methods, correct? No. So what are those? What are those two methods? Can you tell me what are those two methods in the teacher class? What are those two methods in the teacher class? They are your teach method. The other one is the school name method, isn't it? Is that clear with everyone? It is the teach method, okay, and then you have the school name method, which is part of the teacher class. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yeah, quickly. Is that clear? Okay, two classes, right? So does the C teach? So let me write it over here. One is teacher, the other one teach method, the other one is the school name method, correct? Now, do we have any methods as part of the C teacher class or CPP teacher class? Do we have any methods as part of that? Do we have any methods as part of that, my dear friends? Absolutely no. So there are no methods as part of the C teacher class or the CPP teacher class. It means there is no class as part of the derived class, isn't it? Yes or no? Okay, so having said that, fine. So I think till here it is clear for everyone. Till here it is clear for everyone, right? Can I proceed further? Can I proceed? Hello, can I proceed further? Okay, so in that case, right? So what is happening in this case? Can anyone tell me what is this line doing? Okay, what is this line doing? This line is creating an object of the C teacher, isn't it? Okay, so C teacher is an what kind of object? Is it a superclass object or a derived class object? Is it a superclass object or a derived class object? Okay, who is that? Buja, is it is it parent class or derived class? Buja, is it parent class or derived class? It is a derived class, isn't it? And I am creating an, okay, so I am creating an object of the derived class, right? And then I am calling c dot teach. What is it I'm calling? I am calling c dot teach. When I'm calling c dot teach, but the problem here is that I don't have a teach method as part of the C teacher class, isn't it, my dear friends? Yes or no? Is there a teach method as part of the C teacher class? There is not there. Okay, there is no teacher method, teach method as part of the C teacher class, isn't it? Correct. Now, similarly, I'm also calling C dot school name. Okay, I'm also calling C dot school name with respect to the object that I created using this derived class. Correct. So again, there is no school name as part of the C teacher class. Am I right? Clear? Is that clear? Till here, is that clear? But when I say c dot teach or when I say c dot school name, okay, so I don't get any kind of error. Did you notice that? I don't get any kind of error. Rather, it gives me two outputs. Did you see that? It is giving me two outputs. So how is it giving me these two outputs here? Any idea? So though it is not having any methods over here, it is giving me two outputs. That is, I randomly teach any subject or I work in Subhash programming classes. Like this, I get two outputs. How is it getting? Any idea? Can anyone guess what is happening over here? Okay, it is because though C teacher is not having any methods, the methods from the teacher class is being inherited. Did you understand? It means when I say C dot teach, this teach method has been inherited from the teacher class. It has got from the teacher class. It is referring to the teach method of the teacher class. Is that clear? That is why when I say c dot teach, it prints I randomly teach any subject. And when I say c dot school name, it says I work in Subhash programming classes. My dear friends, did you understand this concept? Okay, this means that, okay, the teach method and school name method is being inherited in the child class C teacher. Is that clear? Yeah. Hello, is that clear? Are you understanding what I'm saying? If you understood the class and objects clearly, then you will understand. That is why I gave you yesterday time so that you can revise clearly about classes and objects, right? No, else it will become complicated. That is why I know this. That is the reason I gave you this, time. Do you understand this? Can I proceed further? Can I proceed further? Guys, I want you to respond. Can I proceed further? Right? See, I'll keep asking you, shall I proceed further, but still, yeah. Okay. Now, having said that, okay, the same thing happens over here. So what am I doing in this line? Can you tell me what is happening in this line over here? In this line, I'm creating an object of the CPP teacher class. Yes or no? I'm creating an object of the CPP teacher class. And again, I say cpp.teach and cpp.school name. Okay, so what will happen in that case? Can you tell me what will happen in that case? Okay, so will it give me any error? Will it give me any error? It will not give me an error. Rather, it will pick up those methods by, from the teacher class, because those two methods have been inherited. Is that clear? Those two methods have been inherited in the child class. And that is why it says, I randomly teach any subject. I work in Subhash programming classes. Okay, that is how it works. Shall I give you one small question? Will you answer me? Okay, I'm going to ask you something. Will you answer me now? Now imagine that if I am not writing this, by the way, first of all, did you understand this one before asking you a question? Do you understand this program, how it is working, my dear friends, everyone? Okay, so now guys, see what will happen if I don't write this over here. That is, I'm not writing this. Okay, I'm not writing this. That is, I'm not inheriting like this. Then what could happen to this program? Can you tell me? What will happen if I don't add this over here? Then what could happen? It would give an error, isn't it? Why is it giving an error? Why will it give an error? Why is it giving an error? The error that it says is that, see, method is not found as part of the C teacher class. It says like that, isn't it, my dear friends? Is that okay? Clear with that? Try this out. Okay, try this out. Clear? Hello, shall I proceed further to the next program? Shall I proceed further to the next program? Guys, I'm going to the next program. Okay. Now, coming to the second program over here, right? So what is happening here in this program? Can you tell me? Okay, first of all, let me quickly, 1 second, let me arrange it in the. Okay, program 2. So can you tell me what happens in this case? Yeah, my dear friends. So how many classes are there? How many classes are there? Keep telling, answer my questions so that you will understand very clearly. So what are those classes? Name those classes. Okay, they are teacher, C teacher and CPP teacher, isn't it? So in that case, right? So in that case, okay, so is C teacher inheriting from the teacher? Is C teacher inheriting from the teacher? Yes. Is CPP teacher inheriting from the teacher? Yes. Correct. No. So as you can see that C teacher is inheriting from teacher and CPP teacher is also inheriting from the base class teacher. Therefore, who is the base class over here? Who is the base class? What's the name of the base class? Teacher. Correct. No. So fine. Having said that, so how many methods are there as part of this base class? How many methods are there as part of this base class? There are two methods. What are they? One is the teach method, the other one is the school name. Correct? No? There are two methods as part of the base class. Now we have the C teacher. In C teacher, how many methods are there? How many methods are there? There is one method, isn't it? This is one method. And how many methods are there in CPP teacher? Okay, there is one method, isn't it? So did you see that teach method has been redefined in the C teacher? Did you see that the teach method which was there in the teacher class is no more used? Rather, the teach method of the teacher class has been redefined in both the classes. Did you see that, my dear friends? Observed. Okay, the teach method has been redefined. A different definition has been given to it. Did you see that? You know what is that concept called as? The concept of redefining the methods that is there in the base class into the child class is called as overriding. What is it called as, my dear friends? It is called as what? Overriding. It is called as overriding the methods. So I have overridden the teach method. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. Redefining the method of the base class in the child class is called as overriding the methods. Okay. So I have overridden the teach method in both the derived classes. Is that clear? My dear friends, is that clear? So it means that I have given my own definition for the teach for the C teacher class. I'm not using the teach method of the teacher class. Rather, I have given my own definition for the teach method belonging to the derived classes. Is that clear? Did you notice it? Hello, is that clear? Are you understanding this? Okay, now in that case, shall I proceed further? So in that case, tell me, so what am I doing over here? What am I doing? I'm creating an object, isn't it? I'm creating an object of the, creating an object of the C teacher class. In that case, when I say C dot teach, which method will get called? Will it call the method belonging to the teacher class or will it call the method belonging to its own class? Tell me quickly which method will it get called? Okay, it will call the method belonging to its own class because it is having the method, isn't it? It is having that method, so therefore that will get actually called. Therefore, the output would be I teach C programming because C teacher will teach the C programming. It says I teach C programming, correct? And then I am again calling a method called as school name, C dot school name. Did you see that? I'm calling C dot school name. So when I say C dot school name, is there a method called as school name in the C teacher class? Is there a method called as, what is that, school name in the C teacher class? No. In that case, what method will get called? Which method will get called? Tell me. It calls the inherited method from the teacher class, isn't it? It calls the inherited method. It takes it from the parent class. So what will happen? It says I work in Subhash programming classes. Okay, did you understand? Similarly, so the same thing happens with the CPP teacher also. Okay, so CPP teacher, I'm creating an object of CPP teacher class over here. And then when I say cpp.teach, the teach method belonging to the CPP teacher will get called. And therefore it says I teach C++ programming. And then cpp.schoolName will, okay, call the method belonging to the teacher class, right? So therefore it says I work in Subhash programming classes. Is that clear, my dear friends? Is this program clear? Hello guys, is this program clear? Guaranteed? Shall I go ahead? Shall I proceed? Shall I proceed, my dear friends? Hello, shall I proceed? Okay, so what is that? 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 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Okay, so very clear. I saw somewhere some one doubt, something like that. So I missed it, or it was just my assumption. Yeah, Praveen Kumar, what is that one doubt? What is that one doubt? What is that one doubt? You want me to unmute yourself? Wait, 1 minute, wait. Yeah, tell me, you can unmute yourself.
Sir, if I create teacher object, then if I call that teach method inside teacher object, what will be the output, sir?
I randomly teach any subject.
Sir, but that has been overridden, right?
It is overridden in the C teacher class.
Acha,
No, because it is overridden. So what are you trying to say? Okay, it is overridden. So what? What do you mean by overridden?
So, yes, sir. This teach method
No, what do you
inside
mean
this
by overridden? What do you mean by overridden? Means
updation.
no, it is not updation. It is not hidden. Overridden in the sense, it is not overwritten. It is not overwritten. It is overriding. Overriding in the sense the base class is redefining that method from the teacher class. It is not hidden. Okay.
Okay, sir. That means in teacher teach method will be there at some particular location. Is that sir?
Yeah, it is there. This teach method and school name method belongs to the teacher class. And if you create an
Okay,
object of the teacher class and call teach method, then I randomly teach any subject will get printed.
okay, sir. Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You can try this out. I think it will be fun to try this out. Okay. So try
Yes, sir.
this
Sure,
out with a lot of other changes and all that. Okay.
sure,
So
sir.
just
Sure,
because
sir.
initially I don't want you to have confusion, I just told you, but I want you to try all this out. Very good. Okay. So whenever you get such
Sure,
kind
sir.
of doubts, Praveen, immediately put that onto the computer and try this out with make
Sure,
tweaks
sir.
and
Okay,
changes
sir.
and all that. Okay. So you understand this?
Yes, sir.
This is not
Yes, sir.
overwritten. It is overridden. It is overriding. It is not hidden. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Fine. So shall I proceed further? Yeah. Okay, so going to the program 3, right? So, okay, so what is happening in program 3, my dear friends? Quickly tell me in program 3, what is happening? Okay, so how many classes do we have? Keep answering my question. There are 2 classes, and who is inheriting whom? Who is inheriting whom? I want you to write it in English statement. Who is inheriting whom? Okay, you know why I'm asking this question again and again? So write it in English so that your mind will understand. Okay, it will try to build a relationship over here. That is the reason. So B is inheriting A. Very good. B is inheriting A. Okay, so what happens over here? I'm creating an object. When I create an object A, what happens? Okay, so you know that init method will get called and I am in A init will get printed. Similarly, when I create an object of type B, then I am in B init will get called. Is that clear? Is this program okay with you all? Okay, is this program okay with you all? Okay, it's a very simple program, right? By the way, I forgot to tell you one more thing. 1 second, let me come to this. Guys, when I told you this here in the first program that when you create when you are calling a method using an object of C teacher where the method is not defined, it is calling the teach method belonging to the teacher class, base class, isn't it? This is what I told you, isn't it? Hello, clear? Can you recall something that we learned from the previous class? Is there something that you can recall from the previous class, my dear friends? Hello, what is that? You remember something called as str and repr methods and all that? You remember underscore underscore str underscore underscore repr method? Correct now, my dear friends? Right now, I told you that this is, though it is not defined, it is taking from somewhere, right? I told you, no, it is taking from somewhere. From where is it taking? Tell me. From where is it taking actually? From where is it taking? Okay, so if suppose, listen. Okay, guys, let me write this over here. Oh, let me take this sketch. Okay, so guys, listen. Okay, so answer me this question. If I write a class here, okay, something like mother class. Mother class, okay, yeah, something like mother class. I'll tell you about mother class, father class. Now listen to me. Okay, so class, let me take class. Okay, so class human being or something. I'll call it as class human being. Okay, class human being, right? And then class human being colon, and then if suppose say I just say pass, or I have some definition, don't worry about it. And then I'm creating, say, h is equal to human being class. That is, I'm trying to create an object of the human being, right? So what will happen in this case? And after that, if I'm trying to print it, right, I'll say print of h. Then what does this mean? Tell me, can you tell me what will happen? How this line would get actually converted to? This line will get converted to what? It says print, okay, and it will internally call what? H dot underscore underscore str underscore underscore like this. Am I right? Hello, yes or no? Correct, no, my dear friends, isn't it? It calls this str method, right? So when there is no str defined over here, but still this will this give any error? Will this give any error? Just because str is not defined, will it give any error? No, right? It doesn't give you any kind of error, right? But still it will give you some kind of string, isn't it? So it means it is calling this str method from somewhere, correct? No, it means this someone has defined this str method. Agree, disagree? Agree, disagree? This str method must be defined somewhere, isn't it? So where is it defined? Okay, it is defined in a class called as an object class. Okay, it is defined in one of the class called as an object class, right? So what is that object class? As Ankur was telling, object class is called as the mother class or father class or whatever you can call. Okay, so this is how it will be. Even though if you do not write this within bracket as object, by default all the classes that you write in your Python program, okay, will definitely get inherited from this object class. So there is a standard class as part of your Python library, okay, where all your str methods and your repr methods and several other dunder methods would actually be defined over there. Okay, so therefore when you call this h underscore underscore str, and if you have not defined this method over here, then it will automatically take it from the object class, and then whatever object has defined str, whatever str has been defined in object, so that method will get implemented and that will return a string over here. Is that clear, guys? Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you over here? That's why I told you I will tell you this during inheritance. Is that clear? So hello, is that clear to everyone? Okay, so if you have not so one thing that you have to understand is every class in Python, okay, if it doesn't inherit any other class, then by default it will implicitly implicit a class called as an object class. Okay, this is called as the root of this class, or it is called as the father of all classes, or it can be called as the mother of all classes, or whatever it is, where all these str methods are defined. So if you are not inheriting, by default the Python will make sure that your class has been inherited from object. And that is why when you call str method, this str method, okay, when you have not defined it, the str method of the object class gets called, and in this object this str method is defined and it returns the standard string related to your object. Okay, so a lot of stuff goes inside this. That is not our botheration for now, okay, but I just gave you an explanation of the working of this. Is that clear, guys? Hello, is that clear? Hello guys, is that clear? Okay, shall I proceed further with the chapter? Yeah, shall I proceed further with the chapter? Okay, right. Okay, where is that? Here. Now, so coming to the, we have done two programs, is it? We have done two, okay, three programs. Okay, so in this case, can you tell me what is the output? Okay, so it is as shown in the screen. It is quite simple. I'm creating an object B and I just say I am in B in it. Is that okay? Is this clear? Okay, so nothing much to discuss in this program. Let me go to the fifth one. Okay, so guys, can you tell me what is happening over here? Okay, let us first see here and then go there. Okay, in the fourth one, class A, class B. So I'm creating an object of class B, and therefore what happens is the init dunder init method of the class B will get called, and it says I am in B init. Okay, so this is clear, right? Program 4 is clear, correct? No? Hello, is it clear with you? All right, in that case, now in program 5, can you tell me what is happening? So I'm calling this object B, and what gets called? This method gets called, isn't it? The dunder method the dunder and init method belonging to the class B will get called, right? And it says I am in B init. So I say I am in B init, and then you have something called as a special function called as the super function. You know what do you mean by the super function? The name itself says, right? So it means that you are trying to access the instances or the properties of the base class, right? No, or the parent class, right? So I'm saying, boss, please call the init method belonging to the super class. Okay, so super function will actually return the references to this class A, and I'm trying to call the init method belonging to the super class. So if you want to access any kind of properties of the class A, okay, so in the class B explicitly, then you can make use of this super dot underscore underscore init. Is that clear? Hello, is that clear? Hello, is that clear? Okay, right. So I will explain you. I mean, we'll have one more. We'll encounter the super in several places. So we'll see how it works. For now, did you understand this? What I'm trying to do? I'm trying to access the init method referring to the class A, that is the parent class, by using the super function. So this is very important for you to understand. It's a special function, super function, which gives access to your base class, attributes. Hello, is program 5 okay? Is that clear? Is that clear? Hello, guys. Are you understanding the working of this? Clear with all? Guaranteed? Shall I proceed? Shall I proceed? Shall I proceed? Okay. 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 Okay, so can you please go through this program quickly and then I'll explain. First you go through this program. Okay, so fine. Okay, let me explain this to you. So tell me how many classes are there? How many classes are there? Keep answering my question so that I'll help you out. So how many classes are there? Two classes are there. What are the names of those classes? What are those names of those classes? What are the names? Small a or capital A? You should be very specific. Okay, so they are capital A and capital B, isn't it? So who is inheriting from whom? Who is inheriting from whom? Can you tell me who is inheriting from whom? Okay, so class B is inheriting from class A. Okay, so does class A have class variables? Does class A have class variables? Answer my question. Does class A have class variables? Okay, it has class variables, isn't it? So what is the name of the class variable? What is the name of the class variable? It is A. And what is its value? What is its value? It's 50. So do you think the class variable is same as the instance variable? Is class variable same as the instance variable? That is why I gave you time yesterday to revise. Okay, so is class variable same as the instance variable? No, right? So what is the difference between the class variable and instance variable? Tell me. What is the difference between class variable and instance variable? Tell me quickly. Let me see. What is the difference between class variable and instance variable? Class variable stored in stack. I'm not asking you where it is stored. My question is what is the difference? Okay, so class variable belongs to the whole class. Okay, class variable, no, class variable is local variable created with us. Okay, instance is only for the particular behavior. Belongs to the object. Okay, oh, yo, so many wrong answers. Class variables belongs to the class. Guys, I gave you time yesterday to learn. No, why you did not revise? Yeah, changes is reflected in instance. Okay, okay. Most of them have given only wrong answers. Okay, now listen. Instance variables are specific to an object, correct? Whereas class variables are specific to a particular class. Am I right? Am I right? Right. So class variables belongs to a particular class and instance variables are specific to a particular object. So it means if I change the value of a class variable, will it reflect in all the objects that have been created out of that class? If I know a Bhagyashree, no, it seems. If I change the class variable, it means that don't you think that change is reflected in all the objects? So all the objects will be able to see that change. Is it possible or not? Isn't it? It is possible, right? Whereas if I actually change the value of an instance variable of first object, so will it get reflected in the instance variable of the second object? Answer me. No, right? So it means, what does it mean? It means that the class variables belongs to an entire class, right? No, it is specific to a class, whereas instance variables are specific to an object. Am I right? Yeah, is that clear, guys? Is that clear? See, I asked you, I gave you time so that even after revising you are giving me wrong answers, right? So anyways, so fine. So how many classes? So okay, you know that there are two classes. B is inheriting from A. Now does class B have a class variable? Does B have a class variable, my dear friends? Yes, no. What is the name of that class variable? What is the name of the class variable? It is B, correct? No. Okay, so now tell me what will happen over here, right? So I'm saying B is equal to B. Okay, I'm saying B is equal to B. Okay, so what gets called? Tell me. Can you tell me what gets called? What gets called is the calling the dunder init method of the class B, right? And inside that, what is happening? So what will happen? I am in B init will get printed, isn't it? I am in B init will get printed. And okay, along with that, what am I doing over there? What am I doing there? Along with that, I'm calling the init method belonging to the class here. Did you notice it? I'm calling the init method belonging to the class A. So what will get called? Okay, what will get called is the init method belonging to the class A will get called, isn't it? And there, what does it say? I am in A init, isn't it, my dear friends? I am in A init. Okay, and then what happens is that self dot A is equal to 10, self dot B is equal to 20, right? So it means that an internal object, okay, for A gets created, an internal object of A gets created. Okay, and that object will now have, by the way, answer this question to you. Okay, now when you say B is inheriting from A, correct? Now listen to me very carefully. B is inheriting from A, isn't it, my dear friends? It now mean, don't you think that now this B is actually a bigger object which contains a smaller object A? Yes or no? It's a bigger version. Agree, disagree with me? Yes or no? This is called as B and this is A, isn't it? So B is made out of A. It is inheriting all the properties of A along with its own properties. Agree with this? Did you understand this diagram right now? So now what will this A contain? Can you tell me what does this A contain over here inside this? Okay, the only thing is the object is nameless. Only thing is the object is nameless. We are not giving any name to it, isn't it? Okay, we don't give any name to it. Okay, so I'm just creating a bigger object which is made up of a smaller object right now, which because I'm inheriting it from A. So therefore the class B, okay, the object of class B will also contain or inherit the properties of class A, isn't it, my dear friends? Agree, disagree with me? Yes or no? Right? No, only thing is the object A does not have a name right now. Hello, is it clear? Okay, so now what is this containing? Can you tell me what will this contain? Okay, what is that? What is A's properties? That is A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20 will get inherited along with it, correct? A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20 will be there as part of the A's objects. Is that clear, guys? Hello, is that clear? Clear, not clear? Hello, guys. Okay, let me write it once again, don't worry. Okay, now what I'm trying to tell you is that, now listen to me, we have this class B which is inheriting from A. Okay, what does that actually mean? It means B will also contain all the properties of class A, correct? No, all the properties of class A will be inherited by class B. So don't you think B will be bigger than A? B will be bigger than A because it contains its own properties as well as the properties belonging to the class A, correct? No, right? So having known that, now when I call super dot init, okay, that concept is there, so keep that some aside, keep that aside. Now I'm calling this init method and now I'm creating an internal object for A, right? The only thing is it does not have a name, but there will be an object for A, isn't it? Because it is inheriting it. If I have to inherit, then it has to get constructed first. Agree, disagree? If B has to inherit from A, then it has to be constructed first, isn't it, my dear friends? Agree, disagree? Because here I am inheriting from A. If I see, if I want to inherit from father, okay, the father must first exist, isn't it? There must be a father first. Without that, the child cannot exist, correct? So therefore, when I'm calling this, the init method of this is explicitly called, and I'm creating this, right? So self dot A of the object of class A contains 10, and the dot B contains is equal to 20. So these are the properties of an internal object of A whose name is not being created. That's all, but there is an object existing. Is that okay? Hello, clear? Not clear? It is like this. So I can draw this diagram like this. This is B, which contains the properties of A, where A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20. Okay, now B is made out of the object of A. Okay, hello, okay, not okay? Clear with that? Okay, but now, okay, so after that, okay, let us complete the program. Then what happens is that self dot A is equal to 10, self dot B is equal to 20. This gets called, okay, and then what happens is that it will come back. It will come back, right? So basically the object B is now created. Clear with that? The object B is created with so and so parameters. Hello, clear with this, guys? Clear till here? Is everyone okay with this till here? Guys, is everyone okay with here? Can I proceed further with the discussion? Shall I proceed further with the discussion? Okay. Now, then what happens now here is that I'm calling the get value method. Did you see that? I'm calling the get value method over here. So when I call this get value method, the control comes here and says my value is self dot A. Okay, what is self dot A? Can you tell me what is self dot A? See here, B is trying to print it. My value is self dot A. By the way, if you see the B does not have this, instance variable A, then from where is it getting it? From where is it getting? Can you tell me? B by itself does not have any self, does not have any instance variable. Then from where is it getting? It is inheriting it from the base class. When it does not have, it is inheriting from the base class. Right now, do you see the diagram? So that is the reason it says my value is 10. Okay, my value is 10 gets printed on the screen. It is getting inherited, right? Amara Sharvant, no, that is not class variable. Yeah, that is not class variable. Don't call it as class variable. Okay, it is an instance variable which is getting inherited from the class A. Okay, so this one, see here, guys, guys, did you understand the difference? This is an instance variable, whereas this is a class variable. Did you understand the difference? Amara Sharvan, did you understand this? Okay, so this is a class variable. Guys, please don't confuse. This is a class variable and this is an instance variable, self.a. Whenever you have self associated with a variable, that becomes an instance variable. Keep that in mind. Okay, that is an instance variable. Is that clear? Yeah. Hello, is that clear? Guys, I want you to respond no, please, else I'll not know whether you understood or not. So this is basically called as an instance variable. Clear? So therefore, my value is 10 gets printed on the screen. Then when I say my value is equal to self.b, then what happens? My value is equal to self.b. What gets printed? So my value is equal to 20 gets printed on the screen, right? Now, did you see what happens over here? Now I want to print this B. So what is that I will do? I will associate with the class name B.B. This is particularly, I showed you this example so that you must know how to actually print the instance variables as well as the class variable. Did you see that? Now when I say B.B, it notes that the class has a class variable called as B, and therefore the value of 30 gets printed on the screen. Guys, did you see this? Did you notice this? Did you understand this? Okay, see the difference between self.b and the class name.b. Okay, so I'm calling it as class name.b because it is a class variable, and class variables are not referenced with a your self. Rather, it is referenced with your class name. I told you in the previous class, isn't it, guys? Is that clear what I'm saying? Hello guys, you understand what I'm trying to tell you over here? It's a very important program. It's a very important program. And when you're writing all your written interview questions, they will ask you such kind of programs only. Okay. So the only way for you to understand more and more is just by tweaking this code and practicing it. There is no other way. Okay, you have to practice it. You have to tweak the code. You'll have to try it out, various different versions. You'll have to try it out and think for a while why it could be working, and then you will be able to understand each and everything one by one. Okay, I've tried my best to give you all kinds of programs, but until you do it by yourself, you try it by yourself, you practice it by yourself, and you think by yourself, you'll not be able to understand. My dear friends, with my experience of teaching so many people, I'm telling you that by just seeing or attending my session, or just practicing the programs that I have written, you will not understand. So if you want to understand, you have to give little bit of thinking to your mind. Okay, so when you encounter a kind of problem, then start looking at it, then see the error message, and then see why it could be working, then do some changes, then you will get some other error message, then read that, then again see, then why is it working, okay, why is it working, then compare with other programs, then compare. So once you keep thinking, it is disturbing. I know that thinking is difficult. Okay, thinking is a very irritating thing, but that process of thinking will give you a lot of things. Okay, so with that experience, I'm actually trying to tell you. So there's only way to learn. Okay, by the way, can you please sir, can you give application of inheritance an example so that I can associate this with a particular concept? Okay, so Ankur Shetty wants an application of inheritance, right? Okay, let me give you an example. So which example should I give you? Is you want some technical application, Ankur? You want some technical application? Okay. Um, okay, so if suppose say I have an application to draw. Okay, so assume, let me try to make a story once again. Okay. Okay, right, say for example, Ankur, you are running a, let me write this over here. Okay, so you are running a company, a software company, where, okay, you give libraries, built-in libraries. Clear? Okay, is this clear? You're trying to give built-in libraries for developing graphics. Okay, so you just give the basic version of the graphics, right? Okay, Mahesh, let me finish off this and then I'll come to you. Is that okay? Right? So Ankur, so assume that you're running a company where you're actually developing graphics for you're giving libraries for graphics, right? So now I am your customer and I want to actually draw a very beautiful rangoli, or I want to draw a very beautiful what do you call, I want to draw a very beautiful shape, some kind of shape I want to create. Okay, so what I do is when you want to actually draw a kind of shapes, some random shapes. Okay, so I want to use a pencil, I want to use a marker, or I want to there must be some kind of formula, right? To draw, I need some certain points and I need some kind of lines to be added to all those things and all that. Correct, Ankur? Correct, I need that, right? But can I develop all those from scratch? Okay, I just want to have a particular shape, some random shape like this, or some shape like this. I want to just draw some shape like this, and I cannot draw all those, I cannot create all the basic versions from scratch. We can, but I don't want to, because my duty is not to do the basic versions of finding the formula of this, finding where the point is there, what is the circumference of the circle. All these things I cannot do the calculation. Rather, what I'll do is I will actually come and approach you and say, boss, can you please give me one kind of template kind of thing, can you please give me a library from where I can actually take the needed things, and whatever is not there I can add it for myself. Okay, so you will give me a library like a graphic library, like say class graphics or something, which will have some basic versions of basic diagrams. Okay, or support for basic like drawing. Okay, drawing, or drawing a particular shape of a square or something, some basic versions you'll have. So what I will do is that I will actually take the class that is given by you, and on top of it I will start adding my own class. Okay, so I'll say class my graphics. okay, class my graphics, and then what I will do is that I will, okay, inherit from your graphics. Okay, you have already given some basic version of this code, so what I will do is that I will override this drop method sometimes, okay, and I will give my own version of that, okay, and the rest you will take care. Sometimes if suppose you don't have some version of the thing that which I wanted, then I will read, if I will give it, I mean I will give my own definition for it and then do it. It means I will basically start giving more or add some more functionalities to the basic version that you are giving me. Okay, so developing this basic version is quite difficult, but I already wanted someone who has already developed some basic version. Okay, and based on that, on top of it, I will start adding my own code to it, and then I'll develop my program. Okay, so this is one of the this is not one of the, this is how, this is where applications, I mean this is where inheritance has been used. Okay, inheritance is basically used for code reusability. Okay, so someone has built in a template kind of thing, and top of it I inherit whatever I want, and using that I will write the code, and if suppose I want it, I would add more properties to it, or something like that. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay, right. So importing versus inheriting, right? So importing is not, you're not taking the template over there. The importing modules, you're talking about modules. Okay, modules is a predefined function where you're actually asking them to do some task. Okay, so inheritance is much more than that. Much more than that is you already have a template, you are on top of it, you are utilizing its functionality, and you are basically adding more functionality to it, isn't it? So that is basically inheritance. Importing is just what, they already, there is a function written, you are just making use of it. Are you making any changes to that module, or are you actually asking it to do more tasks, or are you able to change the functionality of that module and all that? It is not possible, right? No, correct? Guys, you understand? Okay, so Praveen guys, who was it? Ramachandra, Leela Krishna, did you understand? Leela Krishna, did you understand? Modules are just plain functions doing whatever you want. You ask him, he will do it. Inheritance is much bigger than that, man. Inheritance is where you can inherit the properties, make changes to it, okay, and then update a lot of things. Okay, that is a bigger thing, right? Sir, can we override a method by importing? Praveen Kumar, you can only override a method which is there as part of the class. Okay, so what is that? So what the overriding happens when the class is there. Okay, no? Okay, so guys, I think we are going somewhere else. Shall we finish off this concept? Did you understand for now? Okay, so I can see everybody started posting questions one by one. We will deviate from the session. Is that clear? Is that clear? Hello guys. Are modules made private, sir? Why modules are made private? Okay, next, how can we call instance variable of class B with same name self dot B? Okay, so I did not understand the question. So let me finish off the session. I think your answers will get cleared, my dear friends. Is that clear? Shall I proceed further or not? Hello, shall I proceed further or not? You tell me. Okay, no. So again, I cannot go back to modules and all for now. So did you understand this? But yes, difference I gave you. Clear, right? Okay, fine, guys. Okay, so did you understand this program? Did you understand this program, my dear friends? Hello? Hello, guys, do you understand this program? I'm proceeding further. Okay, now this is program 7. Let me change this. Okay, right. So, very important program. Can you tell me what is happening over here? Okay, what is happening in this piece of code? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what? Okay, how many classes are there? How many classes are there? Okay, 4 classes. So, can you please draw this diagram in your book right now? I want you to draw this right now. Okay, so this is class A. Okay, and then you have class B getting inherit from class A, class B getting inherited from class A, and then you have class C getting inherited from class, okay, like this, class C getting inherited from class A. Okay, and then we have a D. Okay, we have D over here, right? So this is class D, and this is getting inherited from both B as well as, okay, C, correct? No, so Mahesh is telling it seems like multi-level inheritance. Okay, this is not multi-level inheritance, it is multiple inheritance, correct? No, Mahesh Babu? Okay, it is not multi-level, it is multiple inheritance. Okay, and this is called as deadly diamond of death in design patterns. We call it as deadly diamond of death, and this is allowed in C++, and in Java this is not allowed, but in Python it is allowed. Okay, so how it works I'll see later. So for now, because it is allowed in Python, let us not bother about how it works in Java or C++ and all that. Let us just focus only on Python for now. Is that clear? Okay. So now keep answering my question. Okay. So who is inheriting A? Keep answering my question. So who is inheriting A? Who is inheriting A, my dear friends? Quickly tell me, quickly. I want you to be quick. Who is inheriting A? Okay. So B and C is inheriting A. Okay. Then who is inheriting B and C? Who is inheriting B and C? Okay. D is inheriting B and C. Okay. So what is the method defined in A? What is the method defined in A? Call. So is there a method defined in B as well? Yes, call is also defined in B, call is defined in C, and then call is also defined in D, isn't it? Be very careful. This is a very important interview question. Now, after that, I'm creating an object of D, isn't it? I'm calling a method. I'm creating an object of class D, and then I say D dot call. So when I say D dot call, which call will get invoked? Can you tell me which method will get called? Can you tell me which method will get called? Do you think the call method for class D will get called? Isn't it? Yes, its own method, isn't it? So I am D will get printed on the screen. Is that clear? This is very straightforward, very simple, and it's very straightforward. Therefore, it will print I am D. Is that clear? It prints I am D. Do you understand this? Clear, not clear? Clear, not clear? Quickly. Clear, not clear? Okay, now. So shall I go to the next one? Shall I proceed? Shall I proceed to the next one, my dear friends? Shall I proceed to the next one? Okay. Now, so program 8. Okay, coming to the program 8. So what is happening over here? So again, write down this this one diagram on the in your book. Okay, class A is there. Okay, and then we have class B. We have class B. Then we have class C that is inheriting from class A. B, C, which is inheriting from A, and then we have class C, right? Then we have class D, which is inheriting from both B and D, correct? So A is having the call method, and B is also having the call method, and C is also having a call method, whereas D is not having the call method, right? D is not having the call method, correct? No. Now I'm creating an object D, okay, and I'm calling the call method. So which method will it call? Which method will it call, my dear friends? Okay, whereas D is having two parent class. B is having two parent class. One is B as well as C. It is D is having two parent class. Okay, so which method will it get called? Okay, so it will first parent. Okay, so listen to me. This which method has to be called when there is multiple inheritance, right? So this order, the order in which the method has to be called is called as method resolution order. What is it called as? Method resolution order. Can you please put that in the chat box? Can you put that in the chat box? What is that called as? It is called as method resolution order. Method resolution order. Okay, there is a method in which these methods will get resolved. Okay, so you'll understand that very carefully, slowly, one by one. So for now, what happens is that, listen to me. Whenever there is no method in its own class, then it will take the path from the left hand side. Okay, from the left hand side class. Okay, just understand this so that it is easy. Okay, a few books explains it, but in a very difficult manner. So just let us understand in a very layman's terms so that it works in the same way. You can try this out. Okay, so first it will go to the left hand side, and then if it sees left hand side class, okay, and it sees if there is any method related to the call that I'm actually trying to resolve, and if it finds, then that gets printed. Is that clear? Hello, is that clear for now? Right, hello, is that clear? I'll again come back and revise. Don't worry, I'll come back and revise once again. For now, do you understand this? Now let me go to the next program. Let me go to the next program. So I've given you all different versions of this. Okay, so in this, did you see what is happening over here? Right, so what will happen over here? So first, let me write down this diagram in your book. So you have a class A, and then you have class B, you have class B, and then you have class C, and then you also have a class D. This is again a multiple inheritance problem. So B and C inheriting from A, and D is inheriting from both B and C. Okay, so A has call, right? So does B has call? Does B has call? Yes, call. Okay, sorry, let me write this over here like this. Let me write it in reverse order. Okay, so did you see that? How compare this one with the previous one, my dear friends? Did you see that? So D is first inheriting from B comma C. Did you see that? B comma C. Whereas in this case, you see how it is inheriting. Okay, it is inheriting C comma B. Therefore, I will write the diagram like this. Okay, so it is C comma B, and B is containing the call, and C is also containing the call, and D is not containing the call method. Is that clear? Yeah. Okay, so what will happen now when you call the D, you create an object D, and when you're calling the call method, so the Python tries to resolve this method from the left hand side. Okay, in the order in which this inheriting has happened over here. Okay, no, right? Now then what happens over here is that call method belonging to the C gets called, and that is why it prints I am C. Guys, did you understand this? I'm just trying to show you different versions. I wanted you to try this out all by yourself. Then later I thought this is so important for interview that I myself gave this examples over here. This is what I mean to say by trying out all these things. Okay, so C comma B, it will start calling over here. Is that clear? Did you get this? Okay, did you compare this one and this? You'll be able to understand this. Okay, so now coming to the next one, to the 10th one. So I've just made, okay, so see here, let me start from first. Surendra is asking me to explain once again. So from where did we start here? Okay, so Surendra, did you understand this class, the program 7? Surendra, did you understand? So understand this program 7 quickly. Surendra, did you understand this program 7? Yeah. Okay, so what gets called? D gets called over here, right? Whereas in this case, what happens? In this case, what happens? There is no method as part of the D. There is no method as part of the D. Then which method should get called? Okay, so it should call the method which is inheriting from, I mean, it is called, it has to call the method from which it has been inheriting from the left hand side. So we have that D, B comma C. So that is the reason I actually put this diagram over here. So B on the left hand side and C on the right hand side. Okay, so when there is no method for itself, it will start searching for the class from the left hand side. So if it is there, it will actually get printed on the screen. If it is not there, what happens? I'll tell you later. For now, did you understand this, Surendra? Did you see that B comma C? Is that clear? Hello? Hello, Surendra, did you understand or not? Okay, next, if you come to the program 9, what is there? You have C comma B. Did you notice that? You have C comma B. So that is the reason I put C on the left hand side and B on the right hand side. And now it calls the method call belonging to the C class. And that is why it says I am C. Is that clear, Surendra? Yeah. Okay. So now coming to the 10th one. Okay. So what is the diagram over here? No problem. Okay. So in the program 10, what happens in program 10? Can you tell me? Okay. So again, draw the diagram in your notebook. I want you to, do this, else you'll forget. Okay. So you have class A, you have class A, and then you have class B, right? Then, okay, you have class C, you have class C, and then you have class D, right? So B and C is getting inherited from class A, and D is getting inherited from both the classes B and C, right? So A contains call, A has this call method, so B does not have a call method, C has a call method, okay, and then D is also not having the call method, isn't it, my dear friends? So but I'm calling the call method with respect to D, correct? Did you understand this till here? Did you understand? Okay, so did you understand the diagram over here? Now in that case, tell me what was that you were expecting? What is that you were expecting, my dear friends? Tell me what is that you were expecting. Okay, so I told you that when the class D does not have its own, it will start searching from the left hand side, isn't it? Okay, so first it goes to the left hand side class, and it sees that even this class does not have the call method, isn't it? So when it does not have the class method, then it will actually climb up the hierarchy. It will climb up the hierarchy and try to actually call the method of the A. But what happens is that before calling this method, okay, it will make sure that the A will find that, okay, the A has a lower clever class which is also being inherited by D, right? So the Python thinks that the better method or the better version of the call method that can be called is the lower level of that hierarchy, which is also being inherited by D, and therefore this call will actually get called and it prints I am C. Shall I explain once again? Shall I explain once again? Okay, it's slightly confusing. That is why I'll explain once again. Listen to me carefully. Okay, whenever you are doing MRO method, whenever you are doing method resolution order, keep this in mind that first the left hand side class will get checked for the method resolution. When there is no class, it goes higher up in the hierarchy. When it goes higher up in the hierarchy, it sees whether is there any lower classes to this A which is also being inherited by the D, which is trying to resolve the method. Okay, so it sees that, okay, A sees that, okay, there is a class below that which is also being inherited by D, and A feels that the method that is part of this call is might be the right version to be called, and therefore this call will get called, and it prints I am C. Is that clear? Hello? It will be clear once I give you the next program. Is this okay? So it goes to the B, it is not there, then it goes to higher version. But before calling this higher version, it checks, is there any lower version to me that is also being inherited by D? And if it is there, let me actually resolve that call. And therefore, this call get happens and it says I am C. Okay, it is very complicatedly explained in the Python documentation. So I'm trying to just give you diagrams and explain it very informally. But the concepts is the same and it works exact way that I'm actually telling you. Okay, you can try it out. Is that clear, my dear friends? Okay, right? Is that clear? So I'm going to show you another version so that you'll be, I'm sure that you'll be able to understand this, very clearly after the next example. I'm damn sure about it. Just check this out. Okay, so in this case, darling Praveen, wait for some time, darling. Okay, so here, okay, so see here, my dear friend. So can you write this down again? So I have A here, I have A here, okay, and then I have B, then we have C, okay, then we have D, okay. So BC is inheriting from A like this, and D is inheriting from B and C. Okay, so this has the call method, right? Now what happens, my dear friends, tell me. Okay, so first D, so again I'm calling D dot call. Okay, so what happens is that D tries to resolve its call, it is not there, then it goes to the higher hierarchy from the left hand side. So as you can see that B is also not having the call method. Therefore what it does is it goes higher up the hierarchy, and there is a call method over here. But before resolving this call, okay, so it checks if is there any class below me at the lower level which is also being inherited by the D. It sees that there is a class called as C, but even that class is not having any kind of method, and therefore what happens is that it again goes back and calls the method belonging to the A class, and therefore it says I am A. This is called as method resolution order. Hello, is it getting clear? Guys, is it getting clear or not? Okay, but shall I give you one more example so that by the next example it will become very completely clear. I'll give you one more example. Okay, you will be able to completely understand. So I wanted you to try this out. This is what I call it as trying. I want you to try it out. Okay, no, so but let me clear this out for you. This is very important, my dear friends, very important interview question. That is why I gave you all possible scenarios over here. It's very, very important. Okay, so in this case what happens? Okay, can you tell me what happens in this case? Okay, so do you want me to draw the diagram here? Okay, it is better if I draw the diagram so that you'll understand. So you have class A, and then you have class B over here. Okay, and then you have class C, class A, class B, and class C, and then you have class D here, right? So where B and C gets inherited from A, and D and C gets inherited, right? So none of the classes have the call method. So first what happens is that when you say D dot call, the Python tries to resolve this call in D. It is not there, therefore it goes to the higher class from the left hand side. There is nothing here. It goes to the higher hierarchy, in the A, and before resolving the method using A, it first sees is there any lower class that is also inheriting from the class D. So it sees C, but in C also it is not there. Then it goes higher up in the hierarchy. Even here it is not there. So therefore what happens? An error will be occurred. Is that clear? Guys, is that clear, my dear friends? Hello? Hello? Is this program clear? Right? Okay. Right. Now, having said that, so what happens here? Tell me what happens in this case. Okay, so first you have a class A, we have a class A, and we have class B, class B, class C, okay, and then we have D, we have D over here, right? And this is D. So do we have, we don't have anywhere, and we have E, right? We have E which is getting inherited from, we have E which is getting inherited from A. Did you see that? I just added one more class. Okay, so what happens first, my dear friends? So I'm calling D dot call. So it tries to resolve it in the class D. Is it there? Is it there? It is not there. Therefore, where does it go? You keep telling me now. So where does this go? When it is not there in the class D, where does it go, my dear friends? It goes to class B. It is not there. So if it is there, if it is not there, where does it go now? Where does it go now? it goes to class A. But before trying to resolve it, what does it do? It comes down and says if there is anything which is commonly getting inherited by D, so it is not, so it comes to C. In C also it is not there, so therefore where will it go? Where will it go? It goes to class A, isn't it? So from class A, does it go anywhere else? From class here, does it go anywhere else? It doesn't go anywhere else, isn't it? Though it sees that there is a lower class over here and has a call method, but this E is not inheriting, this D is not inheriting from E. Therefore, this, though there is a call method, this will not get resolved, and therefore this will result in an error. Is that clear? Hello guys, is that clear? Hello? Clear, not clear? Clear guys? Hello, clear? Okay. So now coming to the 14th program. So what happens over here? Okay, so is this the same program? Is this the same program, my dear friends? I think it is the same program. Okay, it is the same program. Okay. Okay, so what happens in this case? Can you tell me what happens in this case? So let me write this. A, B, C, okay, and then we have one more called as E, right? So B, C, and E, where D is inheriting from all the three classes B, C, and E. Okay, and who is having the call method here? Correct. So now when I call this, D dot call, first where does it search? Where does it search first? First it searches in the D, and after D, where does it go for resolution? Where does it go for resolution? It goes to B, right? After B, where does it go to? It goes to A, but it sees before resolving this A, what does it do? It checks if there is anything in C. There is nothing in C. Therefore, where does it go? It will go back to A. Now again, before calling this A, what does it do? It again goes and checks, is there any lower classes which is also being inherited by D. Therefore, E is there, isn't it? So therefore, it will call the method that is belonging to E, correct? And therefore, it prints I am E. Is that clear, guys? Is that clear? I think this much, this will pretty much, I think summarize how this MRO will actually work, isn't it, my dear friends? Yes or no? Okay, now I don't know if any other program is there. Is there one more program? Okay, no. Okay, now let me ask you. I wanted you to try, but let me see this. What if now the call is here? What if now the call is here and this call is not there? Then what would happen, my dear friends? When will I am A will get printed? Okay, at what stage? How many steps will it take? Can you tell me how many steps will it take? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, isn't it? 7, right? As per the explanation, I am just explaining it like this informally, right? So basically it does not that it uses a different way of very complicated algorithm to do it. Okay, but did you understand the concept, by the way? Hello guys, did you understand the concept? Clear? Yeah, everyone? Okay, difficult, interesting, easy, not interesting? What do you feel? Easy? Okay. Okay, now, so I'll now let me give you an example. What is polymorphism here? What is polymorphism? Can you tell me? What is polymorphism? Guys, what is polymorphism? It's not just many forms. It is one entity, different forms, isn't it? One entity, different forms is called as, okay, so polymorphism, correct? So how do we demonstrate polymorphism in Python? Okay, so it is like this. Can you see that? Keep answering my question. How many classes are there? How many classes are there? You understand? How many classes are there? There are 4 classes. What are those? What are those 4 classes? Can you tell me what are those 4 classes? What are those 4 classes? Yeah, A, comma B, comma C, comma D. Okay, and now does each method has a call method? Does each class have a call method? Does each class have a call method? Yes or no? Yes, it has, right? Now, is there a non-member function or just a function which is not related to any class? Does it have any class? I mean, does this program have a class? Does this program have a function that does not belong to any class? Okay, what is the name of that? What is the name of that? It is there, right? So what is the name of that? Jam, right? So what is the, how many parameters is it receiving? How many parameters is it receiving? It is receiving one parameter, correct? No? Okay, so only one parameter. What is the name of that parameter? What is the name of the parameter, my dear friends? Okay, it is X. Okay, now am I creating objects for all the four classes that I have? Am I creating objects for all the four classes that I have? So what are those objects? Can you tell me? What is the object of the class A called as? What is the name of the object of class A? Okay, what is the name of the object of class B? Okay, what is the name of the object of the class C? Okay, and what is the name of the object of class D? Right, so these are the things A, B, C, D, correct? Now, did you see that I'm calling the function jam 4 times? Did you see that or not? I'm calling the jam function 4 times, isn't it? So each time I'm calling this jam function with the different parameters. Did you see that? Did you see that? Okay, no? Right? Did you see that or not? Different parameters. First time I'm calling it with A, second time I'm calling it with B, third time I'm calling it with C, and fourth time I'm calling it with D. Did you notice it? Okay, so but how many functions are there over here? How many functions are there? There is only one function over here and one parameter that is actually receiving it, isn't it? So when I say x dot call this method, x dot call, did you see that? How many calls are there? X dot call is there, right? So this x, how many entity? How many entity? How many entity here? This entity is how much? X is 1, right? No, not 4 entities. X is only 1 for now. In this method, so in this function, there is only one entity, that is X, correct? No. So first time when I call jam dot A, then what gets called when I say X dot call? Whose call method will get called? Whose method? Okay, X is now containing the reference of A. No, if X is now containing the reference, now here X becomes A's object, isn't it? First time when I call jam A, this X is now becoming class A, correct? And therefore when I say X dot call, what gets called is I am A. It prints the, it calls the method of the class A, correct? So now next time when I call jam B, then what happens? Next time when I call jam B, what is happening? Okay, tell me what is happening over here. So this X will now become the object of the class B, right? So that is B. When I say X dot call, it will say, it will call the method of the, it will call, it will gets the, it calls the call method belonging to the class B and it says I am B, correct? No? Okay, similarly, the third time it calls the call method belonging to the class C, okay? And then fourth time it will call the method belonging to the class D. Did you see that? So did you see that one entity is behaving in different forms? First time as the object of A, second time as the object of B, and third time as the object of C, and the third time as the object of D. Right? So this is basically called as polymorphism, where one entity is behaving in different forms. Okay, so this is one of the examples of polymorphism in Python, my dear friends. Is that clear? Guys, is that clear? Okay, the one more kind of polymorphism is done using operator overloading, which I'll be explaining it in a separate chapter. I'll be telling you how to do operator overloading in a separate chapter. Is that clear? Clear? Is that clear, my dear friends? Hello, guys, is that clear? Okay, so having said that, okay, so I'm going to a very important topic now, so please listen to me very carefully. Okay, so if anyone who has is that clear? Yeah, should I proceed further, or if you say proceed, I can proceed further. Program 16. Hello, is that clear? Shall we proceed further? Okay, now, so if anyone has any idea about what you mean by an abstract class and abstract methods, any idea? Old students don't answer. Let me give chance to the new students. Okay, old students, please don't answer. Okay, so whoever has gone through my earlier classes, don't answer this. So it's only for those people who are new to it. Okay, so any idea what do you mean by abstract classes or abstract methods? Okay, so no. If no, just say no in the chat box. Hiding implementation details. That is abstraction. That is abstraction, not abstract classes or abstract methods. That is abstraction. Okay. Okay. Now listen to me very carefully, my dear friends. In object-oriented programming languages, okay, in object-oriented programming languages, there will always be a concept called as abstract classes or abstract method. So any classes for which the object must not be created, right? No, so such kind of classes are called as abstract classes. Do you want me to repeat it? Do you want me to repeat it? Guys, do you want me to repeat it? Okay, so those classes for which the object must not be created, or for those classes for which the object creation must not be allowed, then such kind of classes are called as abstract classes. Do you want me to repeat once again, my dear friends? Do you want me to repeat it once again? those classes for which the object creation must not be allowed or are not allowed. For those classes for which you cannot create objects, such kind of classes are called as, okay, abstract classes, right? So do you want me to ask me something at this point of time over here? Is there something which is running in your mind? You want to ask me something over here? Okay, do you want me to ask me something over here, my dear friends? Right? Okay, no, then I'll ask you. Okay, so what is it, Sneha? What is it you want to ask me over here? What do you want to ask me here? Quickly ask me in the chat box. How to access how to access them? Okay, right? Bhakti, got it. Okay. But I expected some other question. Okay, so what is that? You said everything. Okay, no, the question is that why should we have such classes? How should we have such, why, first thing is, why should we have such classes for which object cannot be created, isn't it? What is the use of that class? If we did not create an object, then what is the use of that class, isn't it, my dear friends? That's a good question, correct? See, we created, now let me go back to the starting program of this lesson. Okay, guys, listen to me. Let me go to the starting program of this lesson over here. Okay, which says, okay, see, teacher. Okay, did you see teacher over here? Isn't it, my dear friends? Hello, is that clear? Okay, now tell me, did we create an object of this teacher class? Did we create an object of this teacher class, my dear friends? Keep answering my question. But was it needed over here? Was it needed in this class? I mean, in this program, was it needed? At least in this program, was it needed? Tell me. Was it needed? Was the teacher class needed over here? Guys, keep answering. Just check. Okay, was this teacher classes needed in this program? What is your opinion? This teacher classes was not needed? Was it needed? Not needed. Okay, it was not needed, right? So needed. Why it is needed? Why was it needed? Because we know that C teacher and CPP teacher, what they teach would be different, isn't it? What they teach would definitely be different, isn't it, my dear friends? No problem. But obviously, both of them would be working in the same school, isn't it? Okay, so I don't want to, if suppose someone is asking me, asking the C teacher which school and asking the CPP teacher which school, should they separately write two different definitions for school name? Tell me, should they write two different definitions for school name which will give the same output, or write a common name so that both can actually access that common data, common method? You tell me. Okay, no, you're understanding what I'm saying? Okay, I understand that teach method, they are both are doing two different behaviors, and obviously two different objects of these two classes must have their own behaviors. Agree, disagree? Both of them have, must have their two different names. Okay, I mean two different behaviors. Whereas, okay, whereas both of them are working in the same school, isn't it? Both of them are working in the same school. So, and when someone asks them what is the school, they'll definitely say I work in Subhash programming classes. Even CPP teacher will also say I'm working in Subhash programming classes. In that case, why should we actually write two different definitions? Okay, instead, why can't I group them into one particular, class called as a base class? Isn't it, my dear friends? Hello, are you understanding what I'm saying or not? Did you understand what I'm saying or not? So I used a teacher class over here so that I can have a common, okay, method as in the teacher class, and whoever inherits this teacher class, right, can get that particular method. Understanding or not? Guys, understanding or not? Okay, now if I want to group that in common, don't you think we need this teacher class? We need this common class, my dear friends. Yes or no, my dear friends? Can we create this common class over here? Hello, yes or no? And did I create any object of this teacher class? Did I create any object of this teacher class? Did I create any object of this teacher class? I only created objects of the C teacher and CPP teacher. Did I create an object of the teacher class? No, right? But is it needed to create a teacher, I mean, object of a teacher class also? Is that needed to create an object of a teacher class? You tell me. It is not needed, right? No, because teacher is abstract. That's what I mean to say, right? So this teacher class can be abstract because I don't need this object of this particular class. Are you understanding what I'm saying? I don't need to have an object of this class, but I need this class to act as inheritance for my child classes, to bring in this inheritance relationship for my child classes, and to group the common methods. I am using this teacher class, but I don't want to really have this object for this teacher class over here. Correct? No? Understanding, confusing, not understanding, not interesting, easy, difficult, whatever it is, you tell me over here. Guys, can you tell me? Understanding, understanding, okay. Then understanding, easy. Okay, quickly, I want your response. Interesting, understanding, okay. So Okay, so Sahiti, we don't need, sir, but if we not want to create, then we can see Sahiti is I am finding it very difficult to understand what you have written, so better I'm not understanding it. Okay, so understanding, so clear, no? So we know that, sir, unplug your charger. Okay, thank you, Firas. I'll just unplug that. So what I'm trying to tell you is that, so can't we make this teacher class as abstract class? Can't we make this teacher class as abstract class? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Can we make it? Absolutely yes. We can make such kind of classes as abstract class, right? No, because okay, we don't need to have an object. Okay, and one more thing. Let us go back to our. Listen to me very carefully. One more thing. Let us go back to our basic understanding of classes and objects. When do we call anything as an class, and when do we call anything as an object? Okay. Say for example, if suppose assume that I created a teacher objects. T is equal to teacher. Assume that I created a teacher object. Okay, no, because this program will allow me to do that, because I have not created this as an abstract class. I'm just creating an object T of the teacher class. Now tell me, okay, when I create a teacher object and close your eyes, do you get a definite picture of a teacher, my dear friends? Do you get a definite picture of a teacher? Tell me. You will not get, right? No. So but if I say a C teacher, will you get your definite picture? C teacher. Okay, your C teacher will come into your mind, correct? No. Or your CPP teacher or your Python teacher will come to your mind, correct? Now my dear friends, yes or no? But when I say just a teacher, who comes to your mind? Okay, no one comes. There is no definite picture about it, isn't it? Right? No. So therefore there is no need for to create an object for such kind of classes. Okay, so such kind of classes for which object must not be created, so then make such kind of classes as abstract classes. Understanding? Then you can make such kind of classes as abstract classes. Is that clear? Did you understand this? Guys, do you understand what I'm saying? Those classes for which you don't need to create any kind of object, make such kind of classes abstract classes, because even by default no one should actually be able to create such object, because that is very bad. You don't need to create. Then why are you just keeping it just like that by chance? Don't give anyone a chance to create an object for such kind of classes. Okay, right? So clear? Okay, Sahiti's doubt got clear. Okay, super. So guys, did you understand this? Now I will tell you how to actually create an abstract class. It's very simple in Python to do that. So you have to import a module. Okay, so the module that you'll have to import is ABC module, my dear friends. Okay, so abstract base classes, you call it as abstract base classes module. So after importing this, you have to inherit ABC class. There's a class called as ABC, abstract base classes, and then say class teacher. So by default this class will automatically become a abstract class. Is that clear, guys? Is that clear? Hello guys. Hello, are you understanding what I'm saying? Okay, that is abstract class. Okay, and one more thing that I want you to understand is that, what do you mean? Okay, abstract class is over. Abstract class is over. Okay, now what do you mean by an abstract method? What do you mean by an abstract method? Okay, abstract methods are those methods which does not have a body. Abstract methods are those methods which does not have a body for itself. So such kind of methods are called as abstract methods. So here you can see this is an abstract method. Okay, it's an abstract method. Okay, it does not have a body. So why it is not having a body? Okay, is because, let me come back to the same program over here once again. Okay, so tell me, this teacher will teach what? Tell me, just when you ask this teacher will teach what, is it teaching any particular subject? Is this teacher, is it teaching any particular subject over here? No, right? It is not teaching any particular subject, correct? No. So therefore, do you need to really have a body for such kind of methods, my dear friends? Do you need to have a body for such kind of methods? It's not needed, right? So make such kind of methods as abstract methods. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Such the methods that does not need to have a body. Now you might ask me, then why should we have such kind of methods? Then why should we have such kind of methods which does not have a body, isn't it? When you don't have a body, then don't put that. Okay, we need such kind of methods so that it can support inheritance, so that we can actually override such kind of methods. Did you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so if there is no methods, I mean there is no method over here, it is acting like a template. Okay, if this is not there, then we will not be able to override such kind of methods. Okay, no. So those methods that does not have a body is called as the abstract methods. Is that clear? Guys, clear? Not clear? Guys, clear? Not clear? Is that clear? Okay. Now, having said that, coming to this program over here, where is that program? This is the program. Okay, so in this case, so what kind of class is this? Can you tell me what kind of class is teacher class? Is this an abstract class? Is it an abstract class? Yes or no? It is an abstract class, isn't it? It is an abstract class because it has been inheriting from the abstract base class. Okay, this is a standard class. Don't worry what is happening inside this and all that. Okay, so it is not needed for you to know or not needed for anyone to know. Okay, just inherit it. We know that if any class inherits this ABC, this class will automatically be called as a abstract base class. Okay, and then I have the school name defined over here, and then I have a abstract method because I'm not defining anything over here because the teacher will not teach anything over here, right? And then I am inheriting this C teacher class, and then C teacher class is inheriting from teacher class, and then Python teacher is inheriting from this teacher class again. And as you can see that the teach method has been redefined or overridden from the abstract base class. Is that clear? Hello guys, is that clear now? Hello, is this program clear? Okay, then when I say t dot school name, it calls the common school name, that is it says I teach at Subhash programming classes. And when I say t dot teach, it just says I teach C language. Similarly for the rest of the other statements. Is this program clear? Because I'm going to go to the next program where you will be able to understand something very important. This is a very straightforward program. Is that clear? Hello? Is that clear, guys? Okay, so having said that, coming to this program 18, okay, I want you to guess the output. Okay, so can you tell me the output of this program? What happens here? What is happening here, my dear friends? Can you tell me? Why is it giving an error? Why is this output giving an error? What is the reason? What is the reason it is giving an error? Yes, teacher is an abstract base class and I'm trying to create an object of the abstract base class. Okay, so that is the reason. Not no teacher, no teach. No, here. See, what did I tell you? What do you mean by an abstract class? Okay, what do you mean by abstract class? Abstract class are those classes for which your object cannot be created, right? And if suppose you are trying to create an object, it means it throws an error saying that, boss, what are you trying to do? It's an abstract class and I won't allow you to create any object because object must not be created for such kind of classes. Okay, so they are called as your abstract base class. Is that clear? All right, is that clear? Hello, clear? Okay, coming to this program, tell me what is happening over here. Okay, what is happening in this base class, my friends? Can you tell me in this program, what is happening in this program? What is happening in this? Can anyone guess? Hello, any idea? Do you know how to create abstract method? It is using these annotations at abstract method. I put it in bold over here. Okay, there's a when you say abstract method on top of that method, that becomes your abstract method. Okay, now okay. So having said that, so what are you trying to say here? Okay, yeah, correct. So listen to me very carefully. It is because the rule says that whenever you are making a method as abstract method, then it is mandatory that those classes that deriving from this class must definitely implement those methods. You're understanding? So when I say I'm not giving any kind of definition over here, right now, what does it mean? It means that I cannot define it. Rather, my derived class or my child classes has to define it. Isn't it, my dear friends? That is the general meaning of it, isn't it? So the abstract method definition says that if you have an abstract method as part of a class, right? If you have an abstract method as part of a class, then if there is any class that is inheriting from the abstract, if there is an abstract method in a particular class, and if there is any class that is inheriting from that class that contains an abstract method, then those classes has to define these abstract methods, has to override these abstract methods. It means we have to give the definition for the abstract methods in both these classes. If it is not giving any, okay, now tell me by default, my dear friends, tell me, what if I call t dot teach? Tell me what will happen. If I call t dot teach, what will happen, my dear friends? You tell me. When I say t dot teach, what will happen? Tell me, my dear friends. Okay, have we given any definition for this? Have we given any definition for this? Okay, it is not. We have not given any definition for this, isn't it? Abstract method will never have definitions, okay? And then we have no definition for this teach method, isn't it? So that is the reason the Python says that whenever you have an abstract method, those abstract methods definition must definitely be mandatorily be given in the child classes that has been deriving from the parent class. Is that clear? And that is why this is giving you an error. Hello, is this clear? Not clear? Clear, not clear? When very simple, whenever you have an abstract method, that method has to be overridden in the child classes. If you don't override it, then you will get an error. Clear, not clear, easy, understanding, not understanding? What do you feel? Okay, shall I proceed further? Okay, right now demonstrating polymorphism once again. So Ankur, you asked me the application of inheritance. I think this would probably help you understand it better. So just check this out. This is demonstrating polymorphism. So my dear friends, so what is happening in this? Can you tell me? Okay, so how many classes do we have here? How many classes do we have? Can you tell me? How many classes do we have here, my dear friends? Okay, so we have 4 classes, isn't it? So we have class shape, class square, class rectangle, class rhombus. Okay, and which is what kind of class is shape class? What kind of class is shape class? What kind of class is shape class? It is an abstract class, right? So does it make sense by creating this shape class as an abstract class? Is it making sense? Is it making sense by having this shape class as abstract class? Yes or no? Yeah, because I can if suppose say assume I'm creating an object of the shape class, then what shape will I create? Yeah, correct? No, if suppose I'm creating an object of the shape class, then what kind of shape will I be creating? There is no particular shape that comes to my mind. So obviously, boss, I should make this class as an abstract class, isn't it? Yes or no? And that is the reason this becomes the abstract base class. And I have this draw method as part of the shape class over here. So when I say draw, can I have a definition for this draw method over here? Tell me, can I draw a particular shape? What kind of shape will I draw? So obviously I cannot have any draw definition over here, isn't it? So that is why. Okay, so I'm not having any draw and I made it as an abstract method. Okay, did you get the design here? Did you get the design, how it has to be decided? So when do you make any kind of method as abstract method? When do you make any class as an abstract class? Okay, so got an idea? Okay, so this they'll ask you, especially for experienced candidates, they'll ask you this, right? Now, okay, then I have how many methods have been inherited from, how many classes are inheriting from the shape class? Can you tell me? So square, rectangle, rhombus, and is there any other? No, 3 classes, isn't it? 3 classes are inheriting from shape, and each one are having the draw method. Did you see that? Each one are having the draw method, correct? Okay, now, so I have S is equal to square. I'm creating 3 objects. S is equal to square, R is equal to rectangle, and RH is equal to rhombus. Okay, and then I have one list which says shapes. Okay, so do you see that? How many list is there over here? How many list? How many list? Guys, how many list? Only one list, isn't it? In that one list, as you can see that I am not okay. Keep that in mind. Okay, you have one list. So what is the first element of the list? What is the first element of the list? It is shape. Second element is a rhombus. Second element is a rectangle, and the third element is a rhombus. Is that clear till here? And now, did you see that? What am I doing? I'm calling the draw method. Okay, first time what will get drawn, my dear friends? Tell me. First time, what is the value of I for the first time? It is square. So square will get drawn. And then what gets drawn? Rhombus will get drawn, and then rectangle will get drawn, and then the rhombus will get drawn. So don't you think this is a kind of polymorphism? Don't you think this is a kind of polymorphism? One entity acting in a different forms. Okay, so this is another example for your polymorphism. Hello, is that clear? Right? So the inheritance and polymorphism concept is very beautifully handled in Python. When you compare with C++ or Java or anything, it is very clearly done with Python, my dear friends. Okay, one of the greatest advantages of having Python. Okay, so I think I completed today's lesson. Okay, did you enjoy the lesson, my dear friends? Okay, did you enjoy this lesson? Did you learn something new? Correct. So I want you to just go and tweak this program and work on a lot of other things. I mean other things like tweaking this program and then trying out different various other things. Ready to understand? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So fine, guys. So meet you in the next lesson tomorrow. Okay. So until then. Okay. Any doubts? Shall I proceed? Any doubts? Ankur, about diamond death. Okay, Ankur, diamond death is not here. If you want to know about diamond death, then I should have discussed Java, but it is not possible over here. Okay, no? So that is the reason. Again, if I want to explain deadly diamond of death, then I'll have to explain Java, multiple inheritance, what happens and all that. Anyways, we don't have deadly diamond of death problem in Python, so I'm not going to discuss here for that. Okay. So, sir, why we use that import line? Where, Disha? Where import line? Where, Disha? Thanks, Sumant. Where, Disha, which line? This line? This line, Disha? Polymorphism last code. That line only. Okay, so this ABC class is there, no? This class, the ABC is a class, is defined here in this particular module. Okay, that is the reason. And all those, that is the reason I'm importing this. Is that clear? Okay, so do one thing, just remove this from here and see what error it will give you. So you'll automatically get to know that. Okay. So we can directly use import ABC instead. Yeah, you can use it, no problem. I just use it, that's all. Sir, understood with the help of diagram. Okay, fine guys. So meet you in the tomorrow session. Okay, until then, make a, take care. What is it? No assignments on dictionaries and sets, sir. Okay, guys, didn't I give you assignments on dictionaries and sets? I gave you, no? No assignments on dictionaries and sets, sir. File programs are given under those. Okay, so I gave you, no, dictionaries and sets are given. I think it is given. It's given. I remember it has been given. Okay, so from now on, there won't be much of assignments because there are a lot of concepts over here which you'll have to learn, right? So fine then. Sir, is it compulsory that abstract class should contain abstract method? Not necessary. Not necessary. Okay. Right. Okay, guys. So catch you tomorrow in tomorrow's session. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Love you all so much. Okay. Wonderful. Have a wonderful night. Okay. Fine then. Bye.